Hello, and welcome to the Care Provider Management Branch's Guardian Foundation Series 1 webinar for all providers and licensees. This is the first of 3 in the series. We're pleased to be here to share with you information that will help you navigate the Guardian system for your background check needs. Let's get started. We're going to go over who is CPMB, what is Guardian. Then we'll get into Guardian navigation. We have a brief user guide tour. We'll go over starting a background check and then dive into the person search and person summary. We'll have a website tour and then end with a question and answer session. So who is CPMB? We are the Care Provider Management Branch in the Community Care Licensing Division, which is in the Department of Social Services. And here's a mission statement that explains what we do. We serve, aid, and protect the most vulnerable persons associated to our agencies and registries by processing background checks that meet all state and federal mandates in an equitable manner. We perform these background checks and store background check results utilizing the Guardian system. We analyze a high volume of workload that is ongoing, approximately 250,000 fingerprints annually. So what is Guardian? It's a software system comprised of 3 separate portals. It launched in January of 2021. The 3 portals in Guardian each have their own unique secured URL that gives users real-time access to information. The applicant portal is where applicants can start an application, submit documents, and receive letters from their Guardian portal. The agency portal is where agencies can review their roster and make changes to it in real time. They can check status of an applicant or a background check, upload needed documents, and receive notices and letters from CPMB in real time. That means not waiting for the mail. The state portal is where CPMB and regional office staff can do their work, from processing background checks to updating names and rosters. Now, today's webinar is focused primarily on the Guardian system. We will be sharing how to sign up for Guardian soon if you haven't done so already. Here's a list of Guardian benefits. You can view and manage your roster, perform real-time associations and disassociations for your agency, initiate background checks, view and manage the exemption process for an applicant, and receive electronic communications from CPMB. So here's a brief overview of a fingerprint journey to CPMB. The applicant takes their LiveScan form to a LiveScan provider to get fingerprinted. Their information is then sent to the California Department of Justice for in-state criminal information, the Federal Bureau of Investigation for out-of-state, federal, and military criminal information, and to the Child Abuse Central Index for child abuse information. Then they all come to CPMB through the Guardian system. Now, our background check can only begin when we have received all required fingerprint results. If you choose to start the application in Guardian and the applicant uses the LiveScan form provided by Guardian, the fingerprint results will link up to the application created in the Guardian system at CPMB. And just so you know, whether or not you use Guardian, the background check will be performed using the Guardian system. You just won't have the capability of checking status and getting notifications in real time. So how do you sign up for Guardian? For an agency or licensee to access Guardian, a licensing user access form, LIC 9277 LUA, must be received. We call these LUA forms. If you're an existing Guardian user and you need to add an additional or new license or facility number, complete a new LUA form. And then lastly, submit all completed LUA forms to Guardian Login Support at dss.ca.gov. And this is what the LUA form looks like. And as you can see, it has the email right there for you to make it convenient. Logging into Guardian. Once your Guardian account is created, you will receive a new user notification in the form of an email similar to the one in the screenshot below. This email will include a link to your Guardian portal and a temporary password. Make sure to check all junk and spam folders for this notification. And for step-by-step instructions, view the Guardian 101 video link that's right below there on that slide. Like I mentioned, today's webinar is primarily about how to navigate in the Guardian system. We do have a great resource for background check process information. It's called Background Checks Demystified, and you may be familiar with it. It was the topic of our last webinar. It is very informational, and I highly recommend you check it out. I'll show you where to find it on our website a bit later if you missed it. Learning to use Guardian may take a few hours or less, but the results can save you weeks of frustration. So a little encouragement there. I thank you all for being here to learn about Guardian today. It's a good step. So working in Guardian, when you first log into Guardian and agree to the terms of use, you will arrive at this landing page. It has three main components. It has the agencies, the list of agencies. Now, in my screenshot here, in my Guardian account, I have 9 agencies. I must be a busy person. But if you have one agency, only one will show up here. If you have two will show up, and so on. Then you have the at a glance dashboard, and that's a useful tool as well. We'll be going over that in Foundations 2. Today, we're going to be going over the home navigation bar, which is this area right here. The home navigation bar contains different tabs, which will take you to all the areas in Guardian that you will need. When you hover over the words, drop-down menus will appear. And there is detailed information about each of these individual drop-downs in our user guide. The Guardian user guide is a useful tool. And I'm just going to take a moment to look at it together. I'm going to pull it up, and you'll see the different areas on the home navigation bar and literally everything you will be doing in the Guardian system. So let me pull that up for you right now. Okay, this is what it looks like, the cover. And then as you scroll down, you come to the table of contents. We have the home navigation bar that we just looked at, and you can see all the tabs here. There's information about each tab. And just to let you know how the user guide is laid out, I'm just going to go through the table of contents real quick. We have Getting Started, which is Guardian Basics, and that has the person search and summary feature and understanding the person summary page. And it also has Application Management, otherwise known as starting a background check. And you can look in here and it has agency-initiated applications. I am going to make this a little bit bigger. You could probably see it, but I can't. We have agency initiated applications. We have applicant initiated applications, and you can see all of those. And then as you move down, there's roster management and transfers. So locating a roster, printing a roster, all of that information. And guardian management as well. So this is resetting your password and all of that. And so that's the big picture. I do want to share with you a couple navigation things. Like, let's say you want to know how to initiate an application. All of these are hyperlinked, so you can go ahead and just hit it, and it takes you right there. And then what I always do is come over here and then put in the number 2 and hit enter, and it takes me right back to where I want to go. So you can look at, all the different topics and get around quite quickly. I wanted to show you something else that is a handy tool, and that is hit the Control F, and you can search for certain keywords. I'm going to go ahead and put in overview. And it shows all the places that the word overview is. So we have a process overview, we have an uploading documents overview, connections, which is another word for transfers overview. And the reason I looked up that particular word is because I did want to mention to you to make sure to read the overviews at least once the first time, because they do contain important information. And after the overviews, like we'll go right to this connection overview. It has all the transfer overview information, and then it gets right into step-by-step instructions with screenshots. So I highly recommend you get to know your user guide, and I hope you found this helpful. Let's go on to initiated applications, or how to start a background check. I'm glad you guys like that. There are 3 ways to start a background check. And remember, in the user guide, the term is, agency initiated application or applicant initiated application. So you just want to look for it that way. So we have 3 ways to start. The applicant starts in Guardian, the agency starts in Guardian, or you start without Guardian. I'm going to share a video about the 3 methods that I think explains it very well. And I'm going to go ahead and hit play and meet you back here right when we're done.
We are going to discuss how background checks are initiated.
Background checks may be initiated one of 3 ways.
1. The applicant applies for an agency through their Guardian portal and then submits fingerprints. 2. The agency associates an applicant to their roster through their Guardian portal. After having added the individual, Guardian will generate a live scan form for the applicant to obtain live scan services. Or 3. The applicant nor the agency utilize Guardian, and the applicant takes the live scan form and gets fingerprinted. This method has a high risk for error and can cause further delays in the background check processing. Let's take a closer look at option 1. This option is the most preferred method to initiate the background check, as it allows the applicant to enter all of their personal information and complete any required disclosure questions. In order to apply to an agency via Guardian, the applicant will need to obtain the agency's unique Personal Identification Number, or PIN. The PIN is provided solely by the agency unless the applicant is applying to be an independent home care aide, in which the PIN can be obtained by the Care Provider Management Bureau, Home Care Services Bureau, or on the Home Care Services Bureau webpage. For independent trustline providers, the PIN may be obtained from the Child Care Resource and Referral Network. Their contact phone number is 1-800-822-8490. The PIN serves two purposes. 1. It associates the applicant to the agency and/or registry when applicable. 2. It dictates who is paying applicable registry fees, whether that be the applicant or the agency. Applicants applying for a licensing agency will not be prompted to pay any fees in Guardian. However, LiveScan fees will still apply when obtaining LiveScan services. Once the applicant has successfully applied to an agency via their Guardian portal, the agency will receive notification of a pending application. The agency will then be required to access the application in their Not Yet Submitted application queue, resume, complete, and ultimately submit the application. It is crucial for the agency to complete this step, as the applicant will not be able to access their LiveScan form until the agency fully submits the application. Once the application is complete, Guardian will generate the LiveScan form with all of the applicable information. The applicant will then take the LiveScan form created by Guardian and visit a LiveScan operator to have their fingerprints taken. The Care Provider Management Bureau will then receive the fingerprint results. Please note, an applicant cannot work, reside, or be present until a clearance or criminal record exemption is granted by the Care Provider Management Bureau, and an eligible notification has been sent. For home care and trustline registrants, all registry requirements must be met to begin employment, and the registry status must be maintained. Now, let's go over option 2. If an agency wants to start an application in Guardian on behalf of an applicant, they will first need access to Guardian. In order to gain access to Guardian, the licensee of the agency will need to submit the Licensee User Access Form, the LIC 9277 LUA, to the CPMB. Completed forms may be faxed to 916-754-4589, emailed to guardianloginsupport@dss.ca.gov, or mailed to the Department of Social Services at 744 P Street, MS T9-15-62, Sacramento, California 94814, if not done so already. Once granted access, the agency may log into their account and search for an individual in Guardian to see if they already exist in the database. If they do, and the individual meets all criteria needed for an association, they can be transferred by initiating a new application. Please refer to the Agency User Guide for more information on the transfer process. If they are not in the database, the agency can then create a profile for the individual and initiate the application for their agency. The agency will proceed with entering in all of the applicant's demographic information, their address, email address, and so forth. If the agency is a home care organization or trustline agency that requires a registry fee, by applying on behalf of the applicant, the agency will be prompted to pay. If an agency has numerous locations or licenses under their Guardian account, they will have to select which agency they want the applicant associated to. The agency will also be selecting the applicable position type for the applicant. Once the agency submits the application, the applicant will receive an email notifying them they can register for a Guardian account or log into their portal to retrieve their LiveScan form. The applicant will then take that LiveScan form and visit a LiveScan operator to have their fingerprints taken. The CPMB will then receive the fingerprint results. It is important for the agency to record the applicant's self-disclosure responses in Guardian by accessing the Application Administration function in the database. A copy of the individual's completed LIC 508 or LIC 508D will be needed to complete this step. For children's residential agencies, please visit Provider Information Notice 21-28-CRP to determine when the appropriate disclosure forms need to be sent to CPMB. Provider information notices may be found by accessing the PINs section of CPMB's website at www.ccld.dss.ca.gov/CPMB. Lastly is option 3. An applicant can still take a non-Guardian generated live scan form to submit fingerprints. This method has a high risk for error and can cause further delays in background check processing. In the first two methods, Guardian auto-populates the agency's unique licensing or trust line agency number, which assists with ensuring the fingerprints and applications link together properly. Oftentimes, when this method is utilized, fingerprints are received with an incorrect agency number. These errors require CPMB's manual intervention, which lead to delays in background check processing. Additionally, the first two methods capture any registry payments directly in the database. It is important, if an applicant submits fingerprints this way, all of the information on the form is correct. Once fingerprints have been submitted, Guardian will create an application for the agency association. If further action is needed by the agency or applicant, a notification will be sent containing the individual's unique background check ID number and the next steps to complete their application. The applicant will need to utilize the unique background check ID number when registering for a Guardian account to ensure a duplicate application, background check, or profile is not created. Failure to include the background check ID number will lead to further delays in background check processing. For children's residential agencies, please visit Provider Information Notice 21-28-CRP to determine when the appropriate disclosure forms need to be sent to the Care Provider Management Bureau. Provider information notices may be found by accessing the PIN section of CPMB's website at www.ccld.dss.ca.gov/CPMB. Once an application, fingerprints, and payment, if applicable, are received, then the background check process can begin. If the agency chooses to disassociate the individual after fingerprints have been received, the applicant is eligible to continue the process on their own.
Okay, so basically you will choose one of those methods and follow the steps for that method to yield the best results. Using the proper steps when starting a background check will best ensure success. And of course, there's always a flip side, and that is if you don't use the proper steps or steps from another method, things can get seriously delayed. So let's look at the different steps here in a moment. I do want to point out that the Children's Residential Program has some request types that require an additional document. And that is the Adam Walsh or AW request type, requires an LIC 508 OOS, and we'll share more information about that later. And then the Resource Family Approval or RFA requires the LIC 508D. Other programs won't have to worry about this required document. So here is the first way to start a background check that we're going to go over. It's the applicant starts in Guardian. So step one is the agency gives the applicant an applicant instruction form. And this has the agency's PIN. And that is something that the applicant needs to be able to start their application. Then the next step is the applicant enters their application information into Guardian. And you want to encourage them to put as much information in there as possible, like their social security number is great. 3 is the agency retrieves the applicant's application. And that's really easy. You'll just have to go to the not yet submitted queue. I'll show you a video link to that. Then when you retrieve the applicant's application, you just resume and submit it. And the agency and applicant will get a pre-populated live scan form to use to take to the live scan provider. And I just want to show you these 2 video links here. There's the applicant instruction form link. There's a video that shows you how to get to the applicant instruction form. And we also have the not yet submitted applications link. That shows you how to retrieve the applicant's application and resume and submit it. Okay. And for all you in the children's residential program, the really nice thing with this method is that the applicant has already completed the required disclosure information, which avoids the hold for that required document. So now to the next method. Agency starts in Guardian. So this is the second way to start a background check. The first step is the Guardian search for the applicant. This step is very important, and we'll be going over it a bit later, so I will be able to share with you some tips and tricks. And we do have a video link for searching for an applicant right here below. And then number 2, if the applicant is not in Guardian, you want to add a new applicant. Now, really important here, you want to double and triple check, because if you know they've been in the industry, they're probably in Guardian. So you want to really make sure you do a thorough search. 3, you follow the steps in Guardian and submit the new application. 4, a pre-populated live scan form will generate to use, and you want to make sure the applicant uses that form to get fingerprinted. And then number 5, if the request type is Children's Residential RFA or AW, you must complete the applicant's self-disclosure in Guardian. And that is a really important step. And then we'll go to and just to let you know, in the user guide, the Children's Residential completing the self-disclosure is in red ink, and it's really easy to see. So we have step-by-step instructions on how to do that. And here's the third way to start a background check. It's starting without Guardian. It's our least favorite. Number 1, you want to fill out the live scan form neatly and correctly. Number 2, the applicant takes that form and gets fingerprinted. Number 3, an application is automatically created in Guardian when those fingerprint results are received. Number 4 is more cautionary. Do not create an application in Guardian after you've sent them with a handwritten form, because that will create a duplicate application. So don't do that. And number 5, if you haven't heard anything after 30 days, contact CPMB, contact us. And we have contact information at the end of our time here together. I have a couple more slides here about starting without Guardian, one specifically for the Children's Residential Adam Walsh. And it's the same, except number 4 is asking you to email the LIC 508 out-of-state disclosure form to guardian@dss.ca.gov, including the applicant's name and other identifying information. And just a note here, if the above out-of-state disclosure reveals that the applicant has lived out of state within the past 5 years, we're requesting that you email it to registryresearch@dss.ca.gov instead of the Guardian email. It'll just be that much quicker for you. And next is for Children's Residential RFA request types. And it's the same basically. Step 4, you want to email the 1023 version of the LIC 508D out-of-state disclosure and criminal record form to the Guardian email, including the applicant's name and other identifying information. And once again, we ask that you send it to the registry research email if the applicant has lived out of state within the past 5 years. Okay, so now we'll get into some Guardian training. So we have the person search. You remember that's a real important part of starting an application. So let's look at some, we're going to go over conducting a person search, and you can do it 3 different ways. That's the fun thing about Guardian. There's always different ways to do things. You can use the search tab, the applications tab, or the rosters tab. And we're going to show you how to do each one of those 3. We're going to start here with the search tab. So to perform a search using the search tab on the navigation bar, the drop-down will give you a choice, either the person search or the application search. For A, the person search, you will use personal identifiers. And for B, the application search, you will need the application number. So that'll help you decide which way to go. Let's say I chose the person search. The person search criteria screen populates. Now, officially, you only need one piece of information for the top and for the bottom, but we have not found that to be effective. For best results, you want to use all the fields if at all possible. If the person is not found, it will show in a results screen. It'll say individual was not found. And just so you know, we are going to be having a change. I think it's coming up rather quickly. And that is down here, it's saying last name or date of birth. That's going to be changing to an and. So you're going to need both of those. And once again, I encourage you to use as many search fields as possible. If you choose to go with the B, the application search, you simply input the application number here and press search. Once again, if it is not found, you will see this dialog box stating so. Here we have the search tab, found result for both options. It's not a dialog box stating it's found. If the individual is found, you are automatically sent to their person summary page. Now I will show you another way to perform a person search. Instead of going into the search tab this time, it's starting from the applications tab. You simply select add new, and it'll take you to the add new search for existing profile page. There are some details listed on top of the red box I have there that apply to starting an application and that you'll want to read at least once. And then below you will see an enter search criteria box. And it's just like the person search box. You have the information here on top, and then we have the information here, and that will be turning into an and in the near future. And as you can see, once again, it is very important to use as many search fields as possible. In addition to entering all the search fields possible, I would go even further. If you receive a not found result, try it again. I have a search result warning tip here. As you can see, this says the number entered is not a valid Social Security number. Please enter a valid Social Security number. And in this example, I hadn't even entered a Social Security number. So that seemed a little fishy. So I dug a little deeper and found that there was a space in there. And so you want to make sure no spaces are in any of the boxes that you're not going to be using. And it's always good to just try this a couple times. Double check your work. And I always say third time's a charm because I knew this person was in there. So ultimately creating a duplicate ID is what is at stake here. And if the applicant says they've fingerprinted or worked in the industry, you just want to make sure you go the extra mile to find them in the Guardian system before creating a profile for them. So we've talked about getting a not found result. So what happens if the individual is found? Once again, it's not a dialog box stating they're found. If the person is found, you are automatically sent once again to their person summary page. Now we'll go to the last method of searching for an individual in Guardian. This time, we're going to go through the Rosters tab. Now you use this method only to search for an individual who is already on your roster. And it's a quick way. Say you want to look somebody up that you know is on your roster. We'll just show you how to find them quickly. Instead of going, if you have a long roster, we'll show you how to find them quickly. So you select the Rosters tab from the main navigation bar and then choose Roster. It will drop you into the Rosters tab filter criteria box. And once you choose your agency from the agency dropdown, you can also fill out any of the personal identifying information on the filter criteria to narrow the search to the person you're looking for. So here's the agency dropdown that I was mentioning. And then here's the name. Now, the person I'm looking for has a unique first name, so I simply did a search using the first name. And you can fill out as much as you need here. Then press search, and then you scroll down, and you can see the person on your roster. When you scroll down, and the last name on your roster is a hyperlink that will take you to that person's person summary page. So you can see that right here. And once again, the found result brings you to the person summary page. So that completes the segment on person searches in the Guardian system. We'll now go into the person summary and understanding the person summary page. There are 4 tabs in the person summary page. You have the profile tab, applications tab, associations tab, and the documents tab. So since all found applicants are directed to the person summary page, it seemed like a natural topic to do next. So once you're on an individual's person summary page, there are those 4 tabs. And we're going to start with the profile tab. See, here are the 4 tabs on the person summary page. And here's the profile tab. You have most of it here on the screenshot. There's a little more that I'll share in a minute. But the profile tab contains a person's personal and demographic information. And it's really important to have their email here. Based on the role assigned to you, your user account, you may edit and update information here as needed using the edit button on the lower right. The edit button changes to cancel or save while in edit mode. So you'll see it changes to cancel and save. And there are some types of information that you will need to contact CPMB to change. In that blue box here, we have neither agencies nor applicants have the permissions to change first names and last names, social security numbers, the date of birth, or the personal ID number or per ID number. So you can contact guardian@dss.ca.gov for assistance. Now here's the rest of the profile page that I couldn't fit on the first slide. It's just right there, right underneath the edit button, and it is the add alias box and the add prior address box for applicants that were out-of-state residents within the past 5 years. Just wanted you to be aware of that. Next, we have the Applications tab. And it's important to note here is you want to open the little blue arrow or caret. See here, you can tell we're on the Applications tab. You want to click on that, and it opens it up for the information. It will enable you to see all the applications submitted to your agency for the individual and a list of associated background checks conducted. Now, applications numbers are tied to each association, and background check numbers are tied to a set of fingerprints. There may be multiple applications tied to one background check number. Let's take a moment to talk about status definitions, because background checks have a determination status, while applications have an application status. So different application statuses are listed here in this glossary, and it just shares what they mean. So you can see submitted, determination available, not yet submitted, or closed. And I just wanted you to have access to those definitions. It is also in your user guide, but I thought it would be handy for you to have on your PDF of the PowerPoint. Next, we're going to go to the Association tab. And this is a history of employment information for the person that is listed from most recent to oldest association. And you will only see the applicant's history with agencies that are under your Guardian account. And then we'll go next is the Documents tab. And under the Documents tab, you will see status eligible letters, which you see in this example. Also, other Guardian generated letters to your agency, such as the exemption needed letter and the additional information needed letter. If it's a letter that is manually generated by CPMB, such as an out-of-state child abuse or child abuse clearance, those cannot be seen in the Documents tab. Okay, so now it's time to conduct a little website tour. And I just want to share with you where to find some things when you go to our website. I'm going to go ahead and bring that up now. Here we have the main address. Will bring you to different colored navigational grid here. And you have contact information, just a lot of different topics here. But for our purposes today, I always call it going for the gold, because these two gold boxes have the lion's share of information that you'll need when you're using Guardian. And one of them is this Guardian link, and I'm clicking in it now. And I said I'd show you where background checks demystified is. Well, there it is right there for you. And just you can scroll through, and I just want to show you these blue boxes. We have Guardian for applicants, Guardian for agencies. The Guardian for agencies is where you're going to find all your resources. So you just hit that plus button and it'll open up, and there's so much. We have all our past webinars. Here's today's webinar. We had some specific webinars in years past. Those are in here. If you're in children's residential, we have some specifically for you and specifically for RFA, background check processing. Then we go down to the resources. We have your user guide, and we have an application administration, which is for the children's residential to get that disclosure done. We also have flyers on different topics, frequent background check errors, your PIN in Guardian. A lot of people don't know where their PIN is, so that's important. It'll guide you in the right way. We also have a lot of videos. How to start a background check. We watched that together today. And we have a lot more. These black ones are more topic oriented and a little shorter. If you want to do a deep dive, we have great resources in these white and blue kind of classic ones. They're a little bit longer, but they go through everything you need to know about Guardian. And I'm going to go ahead and take you to the other gold box, which was the frequently asked questions. Now you can get there from here by pressing that question mark box. So I'm going to just do that, save time. So once again, you see these boxes. So we have Guardian frequently asked questions for applicants. So you could send, applicants, let them know that they have information. Guardian frequently asked questions for agencies. And then we have background check process frequently asked questions. So that's a little different, but these boxes you can open up and they have a lot of information in there for you. So I hope that helps you get a good idea of what you can find on our website. And we'll keep moving along. And I appreciate you all being with us today. Just a quick shout out for you to be aware of the next two parts of this webinar series. We're at the end, toward the end of the Foundation 1. We have Foundation 2 coming up, and we'll end the year with Foundation 3. And you'll get lots of useful information. So we hope to see you back. We send provider information notices to invite you to our webinar. So here's a page where you can subscribe. And here is our contact information. And you have that. Just want to thank you for being here. We appreciate the work that you do so very much. You provide a great service, and we're here to support you along the way. Have a great day.